Oh, it said we couldn't go live on my Twitter, but we're live on your Twitter. All right. Welcome, guys. Just starting up the stream here. We are live on Chandler's Twitter. It said I couldn't go live on CFH's Twitter. I don't know why. I'm going to retweet it right now, but we're also live on the YouTube. We got week 0, man. We're here. We made it. The season's here. Football's in the air. Woke up. It was like 68 degrees in Atlanta this morning. I mean, there was some chill in the air. It felt like fall. Man, I'm pumped. How you feeling, Chandler?
I'm so glad we're back, man. It's been too long. You know,
It's been,
it
I
takes these
think,
couple
what?
months and it goes away, and I feel sad, and it comes back, and I'm happy again. It just I can't explain it. I got Pat McAfee on my TV. I'm even happy to see Nick Saban. I never thought I'd say that. I'm happy to see Nick Saban. Welcome back. Welcome. We're so back, man. We're so back.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is just. I mean, football season brings out the joy in all of us. I mean, it's so tired of just nothing being on the TV. I mean,
Right.
I've been watching reruns of games for months, just over and over again. Like last night, I was rewatching. I think I rewatched the SMU versus Tulane AAC championship game like 4 times, just to like do a deep dive because SMU's playing later today, playing Nevada. But at noon, we got FSU Georgia Tech, man. We got 2 Power 4 teams playing in a game in week 1 overseas in Ireland.
In Dublin.
It's 3 p.m. over there in Dublin. They're drunk. They're off the Guinness.
Oh, Pat was yesterday.
Oh, Pat. I don't know how he's up and pumping away like he is today, but he's up. That's what West Virginia does to you.
That is true.
And I mean, I'm watching College Game Day right here on my screen.
I got it over here. This is actually it's actually the first time I've been in the basement. I haven't even addressed that yet, but
yeah, no, next week I'll be up there. And Chandler's got a pretty sweet spot in his basement down there. I mean, it's a whole. I mean, this thing is a whole Coca-Cola vault down there. Shout out Chandler's grandpa. But
and if you want to buy a Coke bottle, you can DM me and I can sell you one.
But yeah, man, welcome to week 0 college football headline show. I see dog services week 0. Yes, sir. What do you think about Florida State Georgia Tech, Pan? Their quick thoughts before we get into a deep dive of the game.
For me, honestly, I expect FSU to come out and win this game, but at the same time and in the same breath, like it would not shock me at all if Georgia Tech somehow came out and had a lead at halftime. Like that wouldn't shock me because Georgia Tech is no sleeper team, or they're nobody to sleep on. Excuse me. It's I expect FSU to win this game, but I'm not counting Georgia Tech out. They're a much better team than what they have been in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Heard myself talking.
No. That was my phone. I was retweeting the show. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, so there's this guy on Twitter. His name's John. His last name starts with the E, but he does like statistics and works behind the scenes with sports books. And I believe he put out a statistic that under Brent Key, Georgia Tech is 12-4 against the spread when they are underdogs. So they are a consistent cover team. They love to cover the spread. And Georgia Tech is, I mean, we saw them last season. They played hard every single game. They won games that they shouldn't have won. I mean, Miami. I mean, everybody knows that one because Cristobal just didn't take a knee. I mean, Georgia Tech's heating up on the recruiting trail. I mean, that's not going to correlate any to this game right here, right now. But Georgia Tech is a consistent team that is just that pest. They just stick in it when they're not supposed to be in it. And there's a ton of people on Georgia Tech plus 10.5, which is what the spread is at right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it started out, I think it was even up at like 12.5 at some point towards Florida State. But it's dropped down real quick because of how good Georgia Tech is covering the spread. And go ahead.
I'm seeing a lot of people that are actually like betting that 10.5 for Georgia Tech. Like it's a lot more than I thought I would. But I'm really excited to watch this game. I can't lie to you.
Yeah.
I need 12 o'clock to hurry up. I need it to hurry up.
I mean, I'm staying away from the spread. I mean, over the last couple of years, we've seen FSU have some wild week 1 games, especially against LSU.
I was about to say that.
That game was pretty bizarre.
That game was insane.
But if I had to choose one, like life or death, I would personally, at the end of the day, I think FSU will cover 10.5. That's what my gut's telling me. I would not be surprised if Florida State covered. I mean, if Georgia Tech covered 10.5. But at the end of the day, if I had to choose one, I'd be putting my money on the Noles. And if we're talking about the best bets of the day, Chris Marler, Vern Funquist, CFB, guy works for like 4 different companies now. He likes FSU first half minus 6.5. So I think that's a smart play. So if you want to go put that in, I think that's your safest play right now. Just Florida State, just by a touchdown at half. But a lot of unknowns in this game. Florida State's receiver room is really young, really, really, really young, really unproven. They got Malik Benson from Alabama. I mean, Malik Benson, his name was getting shouted from the rooftops last year. I mean, obviously he was the number 1 JUCO wide receiver, transferred into Alabama, had this 4.4 40-yard dash time. Didn't do anything in Alabama, to be honest with you. He really just stood on the sideline. But that is not completely his fault. I mean, Alabama's offense was a train wreck till about week 7. If not the whole season. And obviously Tommy Rees came and went within 1 season. And, Saban's gone. I mean, a whole new staff. And now Malik Benson's at Florida State, hoping to get an opportunity to break out. And I think he should do it. I mean, he is FSU's presumed wide receiver 1. They got a lot of freshmen behind him. But
they got a lot of transfers. I mean, you were just talking about one transfer, but I mean, you got to think DJU, Malik Benson, and Marvin Jones Jr. are 3 key players that they're going to have to rely on. And that's just the name 3. I mean, they've
Roydell Williams too, running back from Alabama.
Yeah, I think the number was like 17 that they took in. So, I mean, but in today's age of college football, that's, kind of becoming normal for some teams. So,
in fact, 17, that's actually kind of a small number if you look how many people are hitting the portal and just kind of testing the water. So, yeah, I mean, FSU's got a lot of new faces. Familiar faces from different places, but, they're now at Florida State. FSU's offensive line is super experienced. Now, they're not super experienced together at Florida State, but as a whole, their snap numbers are ginormous. They are a super veteran offensive line. People are saying that this is their most experienced offensive line since the 2013-2014 season that they went on to win the national championship or the ACC championship. And, that is a big key today. I think what everybody is looking for in FSU is go use your veteran offensive line and go make Georgia Tech stop the run. Because DJU is great when you establish the run. We saw it at Oregon State. Oregon State was a super heavy run offense. When they established the run, it opened up the field for DJU. And then DJU could make those deep passes. And he was super efficient in the RPO game at Oregon State.
And speaking of Oregon State, I do want to say shout out to Jemias Griffith. I played baseball against him. Plays for Oregon State. So shout out to the local guys. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how Marvin Jones is on that defensive line, because whenever I was doing my research on Florida State, it said that their defensive line and their offensive lines are probably their best 2 position groups. And I believe they got an A+, both lines, and then their special teams also got an A+, or excuse me, an A, not an A+. But yeah, I really want to see how he fits in with that group, because they lost Jared Verse, to I couldn't tell you the team.
Fisk too.
And Fisk. Yeah, they lost some key pieces on that line, but from what I read, they've returned and hopefully can at least replicate what most of what they did last year because they were really good last year.
Right. Man, I'm just so happy to see College Game Day back on my screen, man.
Right. It's just it feels right. Seeing Reese's big head just feels right.
I tweeted it out last night before I could even go to sleep. Waking up to a horrific take by Desmond Howard is better than waking up to no take by Desmond Howard live on College Game Day.
That couldn't be more true. I never thought I'd be excited to watch DJU, but
I don't
really
need,
excited to watch DJU
to put up a stinker. I don't need them to put up some stinky numbers today. I need to see at least I need to see at least 3 touchdowns by both in total in the first half by either team. I need 21.
I want an ESPN Instant Classic. Game 1. Game 1, give me one that would rank on an old NCAA game. Also, I wish they would bring that back, but I don't get me started into the NCAA.
Right. But let's go on to talk about Georgia Tech a little bit. We got to give the Yellow Jackets some love. I mean, it's not a one-sided game here. We got to talk about how much stride Haynes King has made since that long arm meme of him at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I thought this man's career was about to fall off a cliff. I mean, I think Jimbo did like a carousel of like position coaches and like switched up what position they were coaching. So like the tight ends coach was the quarterback's coach now, and then like he just tried mixing it up to see if something would stick, and then like that's how Haynes King's arm like got so far because there was like a tight ends coach coaching quarterbacks or something like that. But he looks a lot more normal now, to say the least, and his numbers have gone through the roof at Georgia Tech. And if you go look at what he did last year with a very subpar offensive line and maybe 1 or 2 playmakers, I mean, Haynes King put that team on his back repeatedly, and he stayed healthy. He was super consistent. He's a game time dog. Like it might not be the prettiest win, it might not be the prettiest play, but if you need Haynes King to go pick up the yardage, he'll go do it.
For those stats last year, he had 2,800 passing yards, 61.6% completion, 27 touchdowns, 16 INTs, and a 99.9 QBR.
Georgia Tech quarterback. That's really good.
That's the key you got to consider right there. It's a Georgia Tech quarterback, but almost 3,000 passing yards, which
this team
for Georgia Tech quarterback. Exactly. Paul Johnson's over here rolling in his grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I said grave like he's passed away. He's still alive, but that was bad wordplay. I know. Not too much. Not too much. Don't give me Calvin Johnson flashbacks.
Was it Paul Johnson? Was that the coach's name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said he had passed away, by the way. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Did he?
He is definitely not. No. I said he was rolling in his grave like that. I guess the triple option grave, because that thing's almost.
Rest in peace. I did not know that.
But... He's not. He's not.
No,
he's not. I terrible wordplay. It was.
But I see what you're saying. The triple option's dead.
Yeah, basically. Even though there's still some teams that run it, but I'm trying to loop it like I knew what I was talking about when I clearly said it wrong.
I'm watching DJU warm up his right shoulder right now.
You see the turns. You see the turns.
He's got a big medicine ball in his left hand and a smaller orange medicine ball in his right hand. And he's getting that arm warmed up for all them handoffs he's gonna give today. To Roydell Williams. So but back on Georgia Tech, they got a couple of playmakers out there. I mean, they got a freshman running back, 4-star, Anthony Carey. He's RB3 on the depth chart. But, I would not be surprised if Georgia Tech shuffled a little bit with some running backs and just some playmakers to see who can give them a spark and who can step up to the talent level and compete within this uber primetime game that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And
I did the same thing for. Oh, you're still talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I did the same thing for Georgia Tech. Looked up a couple players that I wanted to make sure that I watched in this game, and the 4 I got, 3 of them were Haynes King, Jamal Haynes, and Eric Singleton Jr. And then it also talked about how their wide receiver core was pretty deep for a Georgia Tech team. To hear that their wide receiver core is deep is a whole new thing for me. So I'm kind of getting used to that. But it says Leo Blackburn is somebody that could really come on throughout the season. So I'm really excited to watch him. And I hate saying that I'm excited to watch Georgia Tech players, but
dude, I have zero idea who's on Georgia Tech's defense, to be honest with you.
I believe I don't want to say Eric Singleton is a DB and be wrong. Hold on.
I think that's a receiver.
He may be. He's a receiver. I was close.
But like Georgia Tech, they've got the brains. That's what they're notorious for. There's some smart people. I'll play some smart defense. Now they don't have any like superstar players on their defense. You know, a lot of their defensive. Go ahead.
But if you think about it, this game could get them to there.
Right,
in recruiting, right? Like if they come out and win this game, they're already doing pretty well for themselves on the recruiting trail right now.
They got like a top 25 class.
Exactly. They just took a guy from Georgia. I mean, it's
5-star. They just stuffed FSU in the locker for Josh Petty. I mean, Josh Petty,
and they're about to do it again.
Yeah, I mean they might, but Josh Petty was all but a Seminole. I mean, apparently him and his sister were like up in arms, were like, "Oh, we're going to Florida State together!" Like, woohoo! Like, dreaming about going to college together and having a blast. And then he just like did a 180. Staying home 20 minutes from Fellowship Christian, where he goes to school in Roswell, Georgia. Committed to Tech, and I don't know if his sister's going to Tech. I mean, like, I don't really care, but I mean, they stuffed FSU in the locker. It was FSU and Georgia Tech. I mean, down to the wire, and the crystal ball was in for FSU for months, and literally last 24 hours flipped. Tech got him. Tech got him. So, really, yeah, there was some money involved. I mean, there's money involved in all recruiting these days, but the mighty Yellow Jackets have created an NIL collective.
Hey, and scared money don't make money. So
right, Florida. But yeah, okay. Who do you think is going to be the factor in today's game, FSU versus Georgia Tech?
I'm going to say both quarterbacks, honestly. And I know it's easy to say that, but for this game specifically, with the two people that are the quarterbacks, it's just I need to see DJU come out there and own this game, because he's been in college for a while now. He's got the experience. He's played in big games. He's played in Oregon. I need him to come out and show that he is a legit quarterback and can win a game, technically on the road. I don't know if this is technically their home game or not. Who cares? They're in Dublin. But on the flip side, Haynes King, if he comes out there and absolutely balls out, Georgia Tech has a real shot at this. Because, again, this is not the old Georgia Tech teams. Like, and yes, me saying this, they could come out and get absolutely stomped. But, yeah, the quarterback play is going to be very important here. Because I'm pretty sure that Florida State's going to be able to rely on both of their lines, as we were talking about earlier. They're both really good. So, yeah, DJU come out and show me something. Haynes King, too, honestly. I'm holding them up both to the same standard.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some pictures right now of people inside the stadium in Ireland. And, I mean, sky blue. I mean, if you look at the weather, I mean, I don't think you could ask for a more perfect day in Dublin. there's been a big controversy about neutral site games having some like poor field conditions. I didn't hear anything last year about Notre Dame or Navy, or Northwestern, complaining about the field.
I might have.
I mean, it may have been a little bit, but like it looks fine today. I mean, it looks like
It looks fun.
it's an open stadium, so there's like I think it was like in the mid 80s over there. I mean, there should be no like should be slippery on the grass. Like compared to like some other things, like for example, like whenever you put like a football game at a baseball stadium, like those never go well. Like the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium is a disaster year in and year out every year.
Every year. It's like a New York stadium just can't have good grass. It makes no sense. It MetLife, and then you go to Yankee Stadium and it is the same thing. They can't play a good football game there.
But I haven't heard anything like to that extent here in Ireland, which is always a good thing because you want the players to be safe, you want the field quality to be the best it can be, and you just want everything all around to just look nice, be nice, and just go as nicely as it can. So, that's a little preview for Georgia Tech FSU, but now we got another game today. SMU at Nevada. Pretty interesting that SMU is playing away at Nevada, but they are.
I like
spread's 27. It's jumped all the way up. I keep yawning, man. I'm not tired. I'm ready for football.
Wake up.
I know. I posted that video this morning of that pastor. Wake up, wake up. But the spread is 27 points in favor of SMU. It started at 19.5. So we're closing in on a 10-point jump on the spread, which is huge. Like, I don't know what other game had jumped from 10 points from open to now of any week 1 or week 0 game. All of college football. So
if I don't know if you remember what you had SMU at in your ACC prediction, but I just pulled mine up because it actually saves it. I didn't know that, but it saves it even after all this time. And I pulled it up. I'm a pretty big fan of SMU this year. I may possibly slightly too big of a fan, but I'm a fan. If you want to see what that record was, you can go watch our video. But
I love the ponies.
I'm on the Express. I'm on it possibly too. Like near the front. Like I've got first class on the Pony Express. It actually may be the Pony Plane at this point because we are flying with what I have them at. My lord, they're almost in the ACC championship game.
I wouldn't be surprised if they made a serious run in the ACC this year. I mean, Rhett Lashley is a great coach. Like, I was joking. One of my second mom, her kid goes to SMU, and she just got back from Dallas, helping him move in and everything. I was like, go tell him to be friends and get on the support staff with Rhett Lashley before he becomes the next head coach of Florida, Tennessee, Auburn, or something. Because like that guy is going places. And I mean, he's got De'Aaron King. I mean, De'Aaron King was electric college quarterback. I mean, he's like 5'8". I mean, they say he's like 5'11", but I guess out of shoes he's like 5'8". But he is well experienced in the game of football and a phenomenal recruiter and a great person to have as your quarterback's coach, being a former quarterback, fresh out of the water, just played college football. And Rhett Lashley, the young offensive mind that he is, with Preston Stone entering his junior year at quarterback. I mean, they had a top 15 defense in the country last year. I get it. They played in the AAC, but that was year 2 under Rhett Lashley. That was only year 2.
It's still impressive too. Even if they do play in a smaller conference, like to still have a really good defense like that, like it's still something that should be, praised and talked about. Even if it's, taken with a slight grain of salt, you still got to really point that out because it especially if it transfers over to the ACC with how some of these teams can be a little iffy, they could really make a name for themselves in this conference really early.
They really could. And I mean, if you saw how many points SMU put up last year, I mean, Preston Stone put up 250 yards plus in 10 out of his 12 games.
Mhm.
No, Preston Stone broke his leg at the end of the season. He's fully
I did not know
recovered.
that.
But I mean, you talk about high flying offense. You've seen Lane Kiffin, you've seen Kalen DeBoer, you've seen Josh Heupel. Rhett Lashley and the Pony Express is right there with him.
Mhm.
So do not sleep on the Mustangs this year. Pat McAfee said they should cover 27. I'm nervous to like, obviously the spread has jumped so high. I don't think putting them covering 27 in your slip is a bad idea. I would take the first half cover, if anything, just because 27 is a big number. But I would say SMU should win by at least 3 touchdowns today against a very subpar Nevada team. I mean, I was talking to Chris Marley last night. I mean, the last time we both heard of Nevada was they had like some quarterback that was like 6'7". He was starting in the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. I think he was like the tallest college quarterback of all time, taller than Brock Osweiler. Like,
Really?
dude was, yeah,
Dang.
like he was giant. That was the last time I heard of Nevada though, and that was like 5 years ago. So,
our friends over at CFB rep, they put out their playoff predictions.
shout out CFB rep, great people.
Oh yeah, great people.
Except for what he posted last night.
What do you post?
Something.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
But yeah, I saw some playoff brackets yesterday that were atrocious. Some were really good. Let's get into that for a second. Okay. You cannot, I don't think it's possible. I've seen way too many people telling me I'm wrong. But you can't have a playoff bracket where Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan all make it. There's got to be an odd man out, especially because Ohio State plays 3 of those 4 teams. Like, they can't play themselves, obviously, but they play all those teams. Oregon plays Ohio State and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State plays Ohio State. Michigan plays 2 of those teams. And there's, throw in a rematch or a matchup between the 2 of those 4 teams in the conference championship. Like, the losses are going to add up for somebody, and one of those teams is going to end up being out of the playoff.
I mean, I can already tell you who's going to be left out of that one.
Well,
we both know
about
who
it. I think, if you go off of like what roster talent, like Penn State's offense is a fucking dumpster fire. Like, they have Julian Fleming, and then they have some sophomore wide receivers, and then they got me and you from the parking lot. Like, it's bad. But
yeah. Go ahead and take them out.
Yeah. But they only play Ohio State. Like, their schedule is really easy. Like,
exactly.
If you look at it now, they have the easiest path to the Big Ten championship. Ultimately, I said it last night, it really depends on how close that game versus Ohio State is. Because if they keep that game close and make it look like a good loss, and they end up losing both of those games, both those losses have to be competitive. Because if they lose by a wide margin in one of those games, they're not making the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to ask me, just in sheer terms of like who I don't think will make the playoff out of those teams, ultimately, like, the losses, I think they're going to add up for Michigan. Throw those teams on top of it. Michigan plays Texas as well. I just think, a 3-loss team is kind of like the brink of like what the line is, the cut line to make the playoff. And if you look at the schedules, Michigan has the best chance not to make the playoff.
Yeah, I do think you're right there. I am kind of being a hater whenever I say that Penn State isn't going to make it. And it's not to say that, James Franklin is a terrible coach or anything, but it's just we've seen year after year. And granted, they did have to play Ohio State and Michigan every year. So, again, it is, all within context, but I don't know. I'm just really not confident in Drew Aller. Honestly, that's especially after watching them last year against Ole Miss. I mean, I'm not confident. They were running a 2-quarterback system because they couldn't move the ball. I mean, what are we doing?
I mean, I was at the Peach Bowl last year. We're going off the topic of Penn State. Drew Aller, former 5-star quarterback that gets hyped up every season, looked like he looked worse than DJU at Clemson. I mean, he didn't have a pass to a actual wide receiver until halfway through the third quarter against an Ole Miss defense that was like playing zone all year. Like that game was meant for Drew Aller to go and pass the freaking ball and make the haters shut up. And then he goes and throws like some duck interception that he tried to throw. Oh God. This is the worst pass I've ever seen. It's like 30 yards short. Like Dejon Anthony like called for a fair catch to catch the interception. And like, no, literally, it was that far off. Like he literally called for a fair catch. Like it was bizarre, but I mean, Ole Miss was running circles around Penn State, just running wheel routes. I mean, Caden Prescorn caught about 7 catches with one hand. And it was a statement win for Ole Miss, first 11-win season in program history. Obviously Ole Miss comes to this season with a ton of optimism, but we'll get to them next week when they play against Furman. Should be a large victory.
Tough one.
But yeah, I mean, we got a game between Montana State. Who do they play? New Mexico, the Lobos?
Yes.
So New Mexico had a running back, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Had a little Twitter debacle with him. Kid was always going to Arizona. And then he flipped his commitment to Ole Miss, trying to get some from both schools. Ultimately, never was going to get eligibility. He has like this weird, I don't know, it's like really interesting way to get another year of eligibility. He got it. He's at Arizona. He's a great running back. I have nothing against him. But New Mexico lost him. New Mexico was not even very good to begin with last year. They were like 4-8. And go add that up with losing your best player to the portal. You're not really getting anybody via the portal. I mean, I don't think I will pay much attention to that game. I'll watch it because it'll be a standalone game. But Montana State, that team that upset Washington when Jimmy Lake was there. You remember that? It was like the first FCS team to like beat a ranked. I don't know. It was the first for something. It was really big. It was monumental. I mean, the Jimmy Lake era at Washington was absolute fire sale,
to say the least.
Yeah. Jimmy Lake is now the defensive coordinator for our Atlanta Falcons. But
he is, isn't he?
He is. Wow. He's a great coach. Some coaches just don't stick in college. They're great coaches. They're great X's and O's guys, but they just aren't meant to be a college head coach. Like we saw how Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban, they both tried to do it in the NFL. And, they had okay success, but it just wasn't for them. And college was for them. So sometimes it's the other way around.
I wish you could tell that to like anyone that thinks that Kirby is leaving Georgia within the next 5 years.
Kirby's going to the Patriots.
Yeah. Kirby's going to coach the Falcons. No.
I would not want Kirby to be employed under Arthur Blank.
I would. God, don't even get me started.
But that's the game at 6 o'clock, I believe. So we did the 12 o'clock, the 4 o'clock, the 8 o'clock. There's no 6 o'clock game. It's at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. And then we got a game at midnight. We got some after dark college football. I mean, some after dark. This time zone is 6 hours behind where they are not even awake.
Some Sunday morning college football, really.
That's for them. For us.
For us.
We got the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors playing against a team all the way from Delaware State. Now, to be honest with you, I had no clue that this Delaware State University even existed before this game. But they missed their flight on Tuesday or Wednesday. I believe they're in Hawaii now. I think they made it.
Yeah, they made it. There was a whole like Twitter thread about some lady who made it all happen to get their equipment there. It was cool.
They had like a bus issue getting to the airport, something like that. But fear not, they have made it over the rainbow to the Rainbow Warriors, to the island. Yes. So they're on Hawaii Standard Time. So it's midnight Eastern Time that game will kick off. So I love late football. I love any football you give me. I mean, I was watching high school football last night. There was a ton of Georgia high school football games on the local channels.
Shout out who beat American Heritage?
Milton.
Milton. Shout out Milton.
I was watching that game yesterday. Shout out CJ Wiley, 4-star FSU wide receiver commit, goes to Milton. He had a great game yesterday.
Looking for a Georgia bottle I can hold up since he'll be playing for us soon.
Yeah, I mean, so Hawaii's favored by like 40 points. I mean, they've got an electric air raid offense. To be honest with you, I have zero idea any name of a player that plays for Delaware State. I hope it's a competitive game just for the sake of their program. I'm all for the underdogs. I hope they cause some chaos in this game. You know, I hope. Shoot, I would not be upset if they win. I don't have any money laid on this game. I think I might have money laid on like the over, but like if you go look at it, Hawaii loves to just throw the ball.
They always have.
Yeah. And I don't know if Hawaii has any decent defensive players, but I got some cool helmets. I think they're okay. I don't know what uniform combo they're rocking today, but Hawaii's always had some decent uniform combos.
I can just to give you a oh my god. You know what? Guess the spread. Guess the spread right now.
40.5, right?
39. Just Hawaii's favored by 39. 38.5.
Went down. It was 40.5 when I looked at it.
Yeah. Delaware State has lost, they lost their last 5 games last year. It ain't looking good. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so if they win this game, it's a major upset. Okay, clearly, because my lord. But
I'm looking at my Twitter right now. I posted a video of Charles Lester, former 5-star cornerback. He is now enrolled a freshman at Florida State. He was waiting for the tunnel to open, according to Barrett Saley, our good friend, who's also a Georgia native, lives right around the corner in Vinings, right next to the Braves Stadium. He also covers the Braves for AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. By the way, where's Lee Corso? Sorry to jump so randomly, but I need to see a proof of life from Lee Corso to make my heart happy. Because as much as I hate to say it, Lee Corso's at the end of his career. I mean, many thought his career would be over a decade ago. and he's 90. He's a legend. He's loved by everybody. But I need to see some proof of life by Mr. Lee. Oh, we got helmets on. Oh boy.
Well, for me, it's just I don't know. I hate saying like, you shouldn't do the show anymore. You shouldn't do the show. Like, I hate saying that because in the same time, it's like he's been there forever. He has earned the right
He's
to
the
be there as
staple of
long as he
College Game
wants.
Day.
He is. He is. I hate it for him, but at the same time, and I've said this before, it's kind of like the Bear Bryant situation, or not situation, but just what happened with Bear Bryant. I mean, it may just, him staying on top of this and doing this may keep him going, honestly. So it's, as much as I want to be like, oh, get him off the TV, and if he wants to stay around for in any small capacity
forever,
I'd love to. That'd be great for me. I'd love that, but I don't know. I wish his role was a little smaller for his sake, but it's it may be his wish.
It is pretty small, to be honest with you. I mean, he hasn't been on the show the whole time.
That is true.
But
if they have him on set and everything in the middle, and I don't know, I just feel like
going on the topic of Lee Corso, I mean, from him to overcome a stroke this late in his life and how severe his stroke was, or not how severe it was, but just how much it impacted what he does for a living. I mean, it hit him at the core. I mean, it hit how he talks, how he functions with his hand-eye coordination. I mean, and he beat the odds. I mean, he climbed up the mountain and he did not let that defeat him. And it is so good to see him, even for 20 minutes on TV. And he has done so much and more for ESPN and College Game Day and coached everywhere. I mean, I swear to God, this guy has coached at all 132 FBS programs. Just about. I mean, this guy, Lee Corso, played DB, and he has the same amount of interceptions in some statistic category as Deion Sanders. So don't sleep on Lee. He'll clamp you up.
You saying Lee is...
Nick Saban played DB too. You know
that? If you're building a fantasy defense, who are you taking at DB?
I'm taking my DBs.
Taking Lee?
I'm taking 4. I'm taking Lee Corso, Nick Saban, Kirby, and Deion.
Hey, you know what? That works.
And then at strong safety, wherever Cam Chancellor went to college, we're giving Cam Chancellor. Legend, League of Boom legend.
Smart. You say league?
But what else you got off the dome, Chandler? You got any off the wall questions to ask?
Off the dome? All right. First, don't even think about it. Who's winning the Heisman?
Who's winning the Heisman?
Who's winning? 3, 2, 1, say it.
Dylan Gabriel.
For me,
he's the betting odds favorite to win the Heisman, but just overall, if I had to choose one, just from the offensive weapons that they have and just like the support system, if I had to lay a couple bucks on it, it'd be Dylan Gabriel. What about you?
I'm probably saying the same thing, just with how explosive that offense is, and who they've added and who they had as well. And the recruiting trail, dude. I mean, they're insane. I know that's not for the Heisman this year, but just in general, the rise of Oregon has been crazy.
Dan Lanning is. I mean, Oregon's always had a great foundation. They've always had a great support system. I mean, if you go look at Eugene, I mean, yeah, it may be in the middle of Oregon out west, but like that campus is beautiful. And if you go, it attracts and it gets all these big time recruits for a reason. Like, I get it, Nike, but I mean, I would kill to go Eugene for a weekend. I've heard nothing but spectacular things about it. I've seen nothing but awesome things about it, from videos on YouTube to, just like articles on the web. I mean, it is a pristine university. So shout out to Oregon. But if you had to name one team this year, this question for you. If you had to name one team that is going to cause utter chaos, you can think about it for about 30 seconds. You got to think about who has the schedule to cause some chaos. Who would be the team that crashes the CFP contenders party?
And they're not already a contender?
Not necessarily, probably not, but who would be an underdog that would crash some CFP contenders party?
That's tough because I have a team in mind.
Let's say a team.
I don't know if they're if you would consider them a contender or not, but
who is it?
Missouri.
Missouri is a contender for the college football playoff, but then again, they play Alabama.
I didn't know if you meant championship or if you meant just the playoff.
I'm going just the playoff.
As champion. Okay. Because
I just say go a little bit lower. Go a little bit lower.
Okay. A little bit lower. Oh, man. Do you have one in mind? Well, I'm sitting here thinking
Kentucky.
They play.
I've been telling everybody, do not sleep on Kentucky. They have Deion Walker, the best interior defensive line in the nation. They have a great wide receiver core. Dane Key, Barian Brown, who's the fastest dude alive. And they have Jamori Macklin that transferred in from North Texas. He's a stud. Former 5-star Brock Vandergrift transfers in from Georgia. They have a veteran offensive line. Chip Trainum transferred in from Ohio State. Just broke his hand. Lord knows what he was doing, but he broke his hand. He'll be back soon. He'll be fine. Not Ohio State. Kentucky always has some running back that runs for 1,000 yards.
You ain't kidding.
Either from Benny Snell to Chris Rodriguez. They got somebody. Mark Stoops loves to pound the rock. And then they got a lot of guys that have transferred in their defense. You got a veteran linebacker that transferred in from Georgia to Kentucky. I think Dumas Johnson is his name. And
he was
he played a lot of reps for Georgia.
Well, yeah, he was probably our best linebacker last year.
Yeah.
Granted, our linebacker room was really young, but he was probably our best linebacker, honestly.
So, their DBs are not they're pretty good. They're decent quality SEC DBs, but you build a defensive line around Deion Walker, who is the most athletic 350-pound human being I've ever seen. And you get some edge pressure, and you get Deion Walker some time to fight a double team and turn it into a one-on-one. Give Brock Vandergrift some time to throw it deep to Barian Brown, who leaves everybody in the dust within a blink of an eye. Kentucky is dangerous. They play Georgia. They play Ole Miss. I was texting CFB rep last night about this. I was like, don't sleep on Kentucky. They play Auburn. They play Tennessee. I think they play LSU. They might not play LSU, but
I don't think they do. They may.
If Kentucky wins 9 games, 10 games, they're going to crash at least 2 people's playoff bids. So watch out for Kentucky. Who's your team? Now that I kind of got your mind on that track, who's your team, Shanna?
Simply for their schedule, I'm going to say Syracuse.
Oh, franchise. Okay.
Well, the reason being, when we did that ACC prediction, there was at least 2 people who were doing it with us that had.
They're doing their playoff predictions right now on College Game Day.
You missed the Desmond Howard one.
Was it bad?
You missed. It wasn't that bad, but
Kirk doesn't have Ole Miss in his. He's got Clemson as a 3 seed, and he's got Notre Dame, Penn State, Boise State, Texas, Michigan, Florida State, and Mizzou. First team out is Ole Miss.
Well, I hate that me and Desmond Howard kind of had a similar. I think we had a similar bracket.
Nick Saban.
Yeah. You'll never guess who Nick Saban had as number 1.
Oh, man.
His reverse rat poison.
Yeah.
He kind of. Also, since we're live,
Desmond Howard. Okay, I'm looking at Desmond. Desmond Howard has Liberty being the G5 seed. Okay. He's got Oregon, Miami, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Michigan.
Hold on, just real quick. Look at Pat McAfee's playoff prediction.
Let me go to Saban's, and then I'll go to McAfee's. And then Saban's got...
Oh, he's got West Virginia. Dude, wait a minute. No,
Pat has West Virginia. Of course
Pat's a troll. At 3.
Oh, West Virginia won 9 games out of the blue last year.
No, I was saying it during our Big 12 thing that I think that they're a sleeper team and they could make some real noise, especially because they play Penn State pretty early on, right?
Okay, Nick Saban's is pretty good. Nick Saban also has Liberty taking the G5 bid. He's got Missouri as his first team out, and he's got Clemson as his number 2 team out. All right, let's look at Kirk Herbstreit's. Kirk Herbstreit's got the... All right, it's pretty much a consensus: Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Utah for the top 4 seeds that get a bye. And then he's got Boise as his G5 seed. We've got a consensus that Notre Dame and Penn State are going to make it. Personally, I think Penn State's got too easy of a schedule, and that's why they make it. Like, I'm telling you, if they played one other good team besides Ohio State and they went 10-2, they missed the Big Ten championship game, they wouldn't make it.
I agree.
But who else did he have at the bottom? Florida State, Missouri. First team out is Ole Miss for him. Second team out is Oklahoma State. I'm iffy on Oklahoma State as well. I do think they're going to be the first or second team out. I love oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. What's Oklahoma State's running back's name? Ollie Gordon.
Ollie Gordon.
Yeah. I love Ollie Gordon. I love the 10-year college quarterback, Alan Bowman. And I love Mike Gundy. I love his energy, love his pressers. You know, I'm a man. I'm 40.
Oh, man, I'm 40.
You can't get it. You can't get much better than a Mike Gundy presser. But
you can sometimes.
Okay, here we go. Pat McAfee. He's got Ole Miss as a 5, Boise State as a 12, Virginia Tech, their sleeper team, at 4, Georgia, West Virginia as a 3 seed, Ohio State, Utah, Texas, Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, Michigan. All right. There's going to be some sort of chaos somewhere. Like, you got to realize that, like...
There will.
Yeah. I like Virginia Tech this year. I like Kenyon Drones. I like Drones, their quarterback. They're going to have a good defense.
I think Mac had them in his championship, if I'm not mistaken. Or was I? It was one of the two. One of the two. But that ACC is so wide open, honestly. And this game is going to – if Georgia Tech comes out and wins this game, anybody, and I mean almost anybody, can win the ACC, except for Stanford. But anybody can win the ACC.
Except for Virginia.
Yeah.
Virginia is like the bottom of the bottom. Like, Tony Elliott should be fired this year.
Yeah, I hate that. But it is what it is. But
it is what it is. But
shout out to my guy Kobe Pace on Virginia as well.
Right. But all right, we're getting to the game day picks segment here of College Game Day. I think we're gonna go live at the same time next Saturday. I will be with Chandler live in person, down there in the layer.
We're also gonna watch the. Are you wanting to do that with me? I'm gonna live stream for the Florida State Georgia Tech game.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, no, but gonna take a little break here for the game predictions pick segment of College Game Day, and the.
Hey, do you want to make our picks?
Yeah, you just want to do like 4 games today?
Yeah, just throw them out real quick.
Yeah, all right. Florida State, Georgia Tech. Who you got? I got FSU.
I got FSU too.
You got Georgia Tech covering 10.5? I see that. That's what I said. If you had to ask me if to take one or the other, I'd take FSU minus 10.5.
And everything I said, and trying to be nice to Georgia Tech and all that, I think Florida State covers.
Okay. Who do we have next? New Mexico and looking real quick.
Montana State.
Montana State. I'm gonna go with Montana State. Call me crazy.
I want to rock with them. I want to. Montana State is favored to win by 13.
So they're favored to win by 13.
By 13 is crazy on the road too. But yeah, I'm gonna take Montana State in that one.
All right, and then we got the obvious SMU at Nevada. Go Ponies.
Yep.
Pony Express. Pony Airlines.
Yep.
Preston Stone will put up numbers this year. He's having fun. He's a dark horse for the Heisman. Bo Nix 2.0. All right, who you got? Delaware State or Hawaii? I got the high flying air raid Hawaiians.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Hawaii. I don't think they covered that number, but
no, it's at 39 now. But I hope Delaware State puts up at least a little bit. I hope it doesn't look like a varsity versus a JV game.
I feel like Hawaii's too nice. I feel like they won't put up over 39. I don't know. I just feel like Hawaii's just their coach just gonna run the ball out. They'll be at by like 32, run the ball out.
All right, and then last thing, which quarterback has the better performance today? Haynes King, DJU, or Preston Stone?
Preston
Stone.
Now, if you just did DJU and Haynes, that's
Old Crimson.
That's a tough one. Okay, hold on. Out of Haynes and DJU, who are you taking? Because that's actually a tough one. Because I don't have that much faith in.
If you have to ask me who has the better games in terms of putting their team on their back and making the plays that no one wants to make, it's Haynes King.
Just making sure we're on the same page.
But
I agree.
I mean, Haynes King does not have a running back like DJU has Roydell Williams. So, all right, we're going to take a little 30-minute break here. Then we'll be back to live stream the game. Make sure y'all tune in. Appreciate all 126 of y'all for joining our first ever pregame live show. So make sure y'all are tuned in, subscribe to our YouTube, follow both of our Twitters, and we will be back shortly.
If you're on Twitter, like to tweet, follow both of us.
Retweet.
I'll follow back. I got you. Just DM me if I don't see it. But yeah, thank y'all for coming out, and we will see y'all in a little bit.
Peace.